Capricorn, this February is bringing very significant and perhaps even life-changing opportunities and beginnings for you financially. I feel like perhaps as a result of this, many of you are really zooming out and looking at the bigger picture in your life. You're figuring out where it is you want to go and how to get there, especially in terms of investing and savings. What is it that you want to experience? What are your goals? And on a much deeper level, you're really figuring out what matters most to you. What is it that you want to invest and sustain? And not even just invest on a material level, but also spiritually, emotionally. There's a lot of you evaluating and reevaluating in the month of February. And kind of continuing this very serious theme, I feel like there's just a lot of deliberation and very important conversations that are happening for you this month as well. For some of you, this could be taking the form of a commitment or maybe even a contract that has very significant potential and implications for you in the long term.
If you're excited for this month's reading, then definitely be sure to hit like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. For those of you who are brand new to this channel, my name is Michael, and I utilize tarot and tropical astrology to intuit monthly forecasts for your zodiac sign. For those of you who are ready for a deep dive, you can book a personal reading or distance Reiki session with me using the link in the description of this video. You can also find links for all of my official social media accounts. I'm only able to put out these videos with all of your continued love and support, so thank you so much for supporting this channel, and I am so excited to see what we have in store for you this February.
As I'm shuffling the cards for you, Capricorn, I just want to give my friendly reminder that these are general readings, meaning not all of the messages that come forward are going to be meant for you specifically. It's up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life and what should be left behind for somebody else. If this video just does not resonate with you at all, that's totally fine. Nothing went wrong. It simply wasn't meant for you at this time, but you're more than welcome to check out the videos, maybe for your moon or rising sign. I have an astrology chart calculator in the description box down below. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that should point you in the right direction. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about the astrology. As you've probably gathered, it's a really important month for you financially, bringing a lot of new beginnings. And I'm not surprised at all to see that the Seven of Pentacles is the first card coming out here, because this is often a card of reevaluating things. It is a card of harvesting. You know, the fruits or the seeds that you have planted are now bearing fruits, but there is more work ahead. There is this harvest. And so maybe there is some sort of achievement or some sort of milestone that you are reaching in the month of February. Perhaps this even happened for you in January, because this is a past influence. But I really see this ultimately as whatever it is that you've been investing in or putting energy towards, there is something that has come to fruition here. And now I really feel like this is, again, you thinking about the bigger picture of your life, you thinking about where this is going and how to also think about the future. So it's not just about this season, but the following seasons. What's coming next in your life? How can you make things more sustainable? Now, again, for some of you, this could quite literally represent financial growth or stability, especially after you've been working very hard towards something, or there's just kind of been a challenging chapter or period. It does feel like there is more stability, but there's still kind of more work ahead of you. That's at least what I'm getting for the past energy. So let's keep going. Let's see what we have. We do have the Hanged Man in reverse, or the Hanged One, I should say. And this is really interesting because I feel like for some of you, you're kind of making a decision between two things that don't necessarily speak to you in the month of February. And while that doesn't necessarily feel good, on the soul level, you gain so much. Your character is so defined, not just by choosing between what is wanted and unwanted, but really in that nitty-gritty of between two things that aren't necessarily ideal or what you want, what is it that you choose? That is going to tell you a lot about your character and what is important to you. And again, Your values, your morals are something that's going to be very important in the month of February as well. And this could very well be kind of this different perspective that you are gaining. And maybe even kind of reviewing, remembering the things that are most important to you. We do have a lot happening in your second house, in Aquarius. That's why we have all of this stuff with finances and values coming in. We actually have Pluto that just left your sign last month in January, around the 20th. And it's pretty much in Pluto for the next 20 years, except for 2 months later on in, I think it's August to October. And pretty much besides that, it's going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. And this cycle for you is very much about your foundations. It's about your stability, as well as your values, as well as your morals. And so there's some really big, important shifts that are happening and may have already happened. We actually do have Mercury, the planet of the mind, communication, coming together with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius on the 5th. And this is actually happening at 0 degrees, which is the first degree of a zodiac sign. This is brand new energy. So to me, this is signifying a lot of new beginnings and new opportunities. And maybe that's what the 7 of Pentacles is representing as well. We will also have Mars and Venus touch in with Pluto at that 0 degrees in Aquarius. Those are going to be happening on the 14th and the 19th respectively. So Mars will conjunct Pluto on the 14th. This could honestly be a very dynamic and maybe even aggressive energy that's just kind of collective. We do also have Venus coming together with Pluto and Aquarius. Again, that is happening, that is actually the 17th. Kind of double checking my notes here. And to me, this makes a lot of sense because Venus represents values. Of course, it is the planet of love and beauty, but it often does also signify material resources as well. And I feel like this could be a time where you're really investing or something is coming to fruition for you. So there's just a lot of things happening in February in the sign of Aquarius with Pluto there that feels really important and kind of like life-altering or life-defining. Because Pluto moves so slowly, it's going to be in Aquarius again 20 years. It takes over 200 years for Pluto to move through the entire zodiac, so we don't even experience the full range of things. So this area of your life, finances, values, they're going to be very important. And really, like, something I'm also feeling too is that a lot of you have limiting beliefs around your own worth. And that is something that you are kind of cleansing or working through this month or integrating. Some of you feel like you don't deserve stability. It makes you wrong. It makes you bad to be abundant. That is something that I'm hearing from Spirit. And abundance can take many forms as well. But I feel like a lot of you are just really figuring out your own worth and like, maybe not figuring out, but on a deeper level, realizing how you made what you want wrong. And I'm really getting that with the Hanged One in reverse as well. And that could bring about some pretty dramatic or significant changes in your life and the way you look at your life. We have the King of Pentacles. Very strong energy. Yeah, again, I feel like a lot of you are becoming stable or increasing your abundance. And I also think of the King of Pentacles as someone who really has a long-term plan and is someone who's actually quite generous. You know, maybe some of you want to become more abundant, not for yourself, because you want to invest in people and things that you really care about. And again, I really do get this kind of big picture, long-term planning energy with the King of Pentacles. It's very similar to your energy. It can also signify Taurus or Virgo energy as well. But yeah, I'm not surprised to see all these pentacles here. I don't think anyone is at this point because Pentacles represents abundance. It represents money. It represents material things. But also, again, there's kind of this bigger vision. I'm actually noticing the star at the bottom of the deck as well. So there's something that's very healing, very rejuvenating, and perhaps even connecting you to a bigger picture or kind of reconnecting you to your purpose as well. And the star actually does indicate Aquarius energy, so that's kind of cool that this is all sort of playing out. We do have a new moon in Aquarius on the 9th as well, so maybe there is a new opportunity coming in for you around this time. For some of you, this is actually just a great time to manifest stability or abundance, to really feel those things, to envision those things, to get into that feeling. Because those are all very powerful ways to manifest. There's more than one way to do it. I like to incorporate a lot of different things. But I really feel like you're figuring out what it is that you want to provide. And that feels very important, very big. And Capricorn, you've been through it. You've been through a lot. You've had Pluto in your sign since 2008. It's brought a lot of change, and it's been very hard to create anything that lasts or stands the test of time. There's been a lot of endings, and maybe it feels like you're kind of coming out of this energy and getting back up on your feet, and maybe even recognizing and healing from that trauma, if that does resonate. Maybe some of you are realizing, like, you know, I've been in a very destabilized place for a very long time, and that's just become my normal. Maybe there's a different way that my life could look or feel. And that's something that's kind of a paradigm shift for you as well. And again, I think you're going to be experiencing that throughout the month, particularly on the dates we were talking about, but also with the new moon in Aquarius. That's something you could be experiencing as well. What else do we have for Taurus? I'm also hearing for some of you with Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus, some of you are thinking about literally the places you want to go or travel to or maybe move to. That could perhaps be part of this as well. That's going to be for some of you. But it feels like there's almost this sense of like limitation. Like maybe you don't have what you need in order to get where you want to go, particularly with the Sun in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus. That's actually happening on the 8th. We have a couple of squares like that throughout this month too, but I think there's kind of just this sense this month of maybe like constraint, financial constraint. As much growth as there is, there's still kind of this like limitation or this kind of like honing in on what's really important to you and where do you want to go. What else do we have for Capricorn? Show us clearly, please. We do have the Three of Cups as well. And, you know, it's interesting because I was just thinking, okay, we've talked a lot about finances. We've talked a lot about the material things, about the practical things. What's going on in relationships for you? We have the Three of Cups, and this is actually showing up as a bit of a challenge. So maybe there are some kind of heavy conversations that are happening for you and other people, maybe friends in particular or community. But I actually feel like what I'm really getting here is like some of you are getting support from your friends or community or groups. That's something that's going to be really important. And either way, it just feels like there's kind of important conversations. There's very serious conversations. And that's because we have Saturn, your ruling planet in Pisces, actually coming together with the Sun and Mercury, planet of communication. That's actually going to be happening, I want to say, it's actually the 28th. Kind of checking my notes again here. So towards the end of this month, there could be a really serious coming together or getting on the same page with a group of people. But it feels like there's a lot of important conversations that are happening in your relationships this month as well. Maybe even planning something in the long term with other people. Maybe there is some sort of collaboration that is going on. We do have the Ten of Swords, interestingly, in reverse. So I feel like some of you are getting out of a very dramatic energy, maybe some sort of painful ending. I actually sometimes think of the Ten of Swords as like jumping to worst case scenario. And maybe that's something to kind of watch out for in communication or conversations this month. Don't assume the worst. Don't jump to the worst case scenario. Especially if you're kind of anticipating having a conversation. Maybe you heard me talking about this and you kind of tightened up. There was some sort of conversation that you've been afraid to have. It's important that you have it, and it might not actually be as bad as you think it is, or as serious or imposing as you think it is. So don't get in your own head. Get out of your head and really get into the present, really get into the heart, really communicate what your needs are, really hear other people too, because sometimes when we're in this sort of like wind tunnel of anxiety and anticipation, we don't really hear what people are telling us. We're not really taking in the world around us. So I really want you to kind of slow down and really kind of check yourself too, because I do feel like, again, having had Pluto in your sign for so long, a lot of you have just been in sort of a traumatized energy. I really think that's just kind of the most basic way to look at this. And so I feel like in a very beautiful way, you're kind of challenging assumptions this month. And this actually feels like there's a lot of healing in this. So definitely let me know in the comments down below how that's resonating. What are the conversations you're afraid to have? Where are you jumping to worst case scenario in your life? It's very likely that, at least in part, this is something that is in your head. So maybe writing it out will help you kind of ground and look at it on a more objective level. What else do we have for Capricorn this month? What else is going on for Capricorn in the month of February? Show us clearly, please. We have the Nine of Cups. I feel like there's a very important achievement for you that feels intrinsically valuable. I know I kind of started off this reading by saying, like, yeah, your hard work could be paying off, but it feels like by the end of the month, you're really reconnecting with the things that actually matter to you emotionally. I'm looking at these trophies. Some of you are experiencing some sort of personal achievement. It feels really good. It really, really does. And I think a lot of you are kind of just taking control of your life again, is what I'm really getting here. And if it feels like that your goals or dreams have felt impossible to you for a while or very out of reach, there's this shift this month where it's like, oh, actually these things feel a lot closer to me than I realized. It's a lot more possible. It doesn't feel like such a leap. That's something else I'm getting for you energetically. And I feel like there's just a lot of happiness. And I think relief that could be coming from having these really important conversations or really making important plans for yourself. But there's like a joy, there's a celebration here. Tell us more about this Nine of Cups. Let's clarify this energy. We have the Four of Wands. Again, celebration. I also see this hearth as well. So there really is this important sense of like, what is at the heart of what I care about? I really feel like some of you are celebrating something. Maybe this is a new job or a promotion or just getting recognition in some way. And it feels like it's bringing a lot of life-changing or life-defining opportunities. This month feels really important. And again, I think of hearth and heart being a very similar thing. Like the hearth is the heart of a home or the heart of a kitchen. Really getting in touch with that warmth, that inner fire. Some of you are achieving something this month. Whether that is just a stepping stone or a milestone, there is definite progress that is attainable for you this month. And I think a lot of this is about getting out of your own head, with the Hanged Man in reverse, with the Ten of Swords in reverse. Getting out of your own head and getting out of your own way. And really tapping into resources and relationships that are conducive to your goals, to your values. I feel like there's an opportunity that's not just like a paycheck for you, Capricorn. Like there's something that's actually helping you attain your goals and realize your values and your morals. The things that are most important to you. Okay, I think I'm going to kind of change course here. I'm going to pull an animal card for you. And I really like to think of these energies as kind of symbols for something to embody. So what is it that Capricorn should be embodying in the month of February? I'm kind of feeling my head spin as I'm in this energy. So some of you might feel like there's just a lot going on. Again, there's kind of this perspective shift. Your minds could be spinning. It's important that you really find your center and equilibrium this month. And that's something that's very possible for you in February. But what is the energy for Capricorn to embody? We have the snake. Interesting. Some of you are really shedding an old skin. There's something that you have outgrown, is what I'm really getting here. The snake is also a very magical energy as well. And I know in the book, it talks about when the snake shows up, there's an opportunity or an inspiration or something that you need to act on quickly. So while there is really amazing opportunities that are coming in for a lot of you, you do have to act on them. You have to say yes. So whatever comes your way this month, whatever is kind of leading you out of your comfort zone, it's important to say yes to. And something that's actually really coming up as well for me, kind of unrelated to this, at least on the surface, there's a difference between saying yes to something that makes you feel smaller, that makes you feel less than, versus saying yes to something that makes you feel intimidated or maybe a little nervous, but you know is like kind of in the direction of your growth and of your potential. For some reason, I just felt like I needed to say that for some of you. That might be an important clarification that you need to make to yourself. Don't just say yes to something that makes you feel small, because again, you have outgrown something. You've outgrown an old version of yourself. You've shed an old skin, and you're ready for something new, and it's important to say yes to the new. All right. Anything else for Capricorn? I feel like there's one more animal energy for you. Beautiful. We have the frog. Oops. Interesting energy here. And even though these animals are very different, they're also very similar in that frog is also about growth and transformation. You know, you're no longer this tadpole. You've taken a new form. But that doesn't mean that you don't go back to the places that you've been, to your home, to that pond. But you're not going back in a way that's like a reduction of who you are. In fact, you're going back from a higher perspective. And I often tell people, growth happens in spirals. We often revisit things or traumas or wounds or patterns from a higher perspective. And sometimes we look at that as evidence of, oh, maybe I haven't grown. Maybe I'm going backwards. You're not going backwards this month, Capricorn. If you're feeling like that, I don't think you're going backwards. There's definitely this element of growth, and there's also the opportunity to grow this month and the opportunity to heal with the frog. And with frog, there's overall this sense of relief. And maybe some of you are even spending time by water, healing with water, connecting with the water element is something that could be very important for you as well. Yeah, I'm really getting growth. I'm really getting very beautiful growth for you this month, Capricorn. And there's also this sense of like returning to something that's very important. And I'll be very curious to hear about that in the comments down below. I do feel like that those are all the messages I have for you this month, Capricorn. Please be sure to hit like and subscribe, especially if you've made it this far into the video. If this helped you and you want to support this channel, that's a great way to do it. For those of you who are ready for a deep dive or really wanting to kind of figure out what this growth looks like for you, you can book a personal reading or even a distance Reiki session with me using the link in the description of this video. that will lead you to my website. I will never DM you or reach out to you to solicit my services. That's probably just a fake or an imposter, so please report and block them. Do us all a favor here. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. I'm wishing you a very happy and blessed February, and you got this, Capricorn.